In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And the Word will make you God. We saw in the first lesson that Jesus had to be born via a virgin. There was a need for it. As an indication that everyone in the world, in order to attain salvation, must initially receive the Christ consciousness within himself or herself. Therefore, in order to do that, every individual must be a virgin soul. A virgin soul means that which is pure, unsullied, and uncontaminated with anything. That was why Jesus had to take a birth via a virgin soul, via a virgin, through the input of the Holy Spirit. So it was the Holy Spirit which initiated the process, and via the Holy Spirit, Mary conceived. And this is in keeping with also the knowledge that we have in the Indian subcontinent. In the Indian tradition too, it is understood and acknowledged that such a birth is very much possible by a divine process. Now, we saw that much in the first chapter. Now in the second chapter, something interesting is being mentioned. Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came the wise men from east to Jerusalem. So, 3 wise men who had seen the star, an unusual star in the firmament, they followed the star, for they knew that there was a sign that something glorious is going to happen. And therefore, these 3 wise men from the east came to Jerusalem following the star. A star is also symbolic in the sense that it gives you the direction to proceed in life. So here too also, Jesus, the birth of Jesus and his subsequent teachings was meant to give a direction to mankind, a teaching to mankind as to how he could conduct and proceed through his life in order to get enlightened or get into salvation. So it was symbolic. A star always gives you a direction. Even in the ancient days, the mariners on the high seas, in order to navigate themselves through the deep waters of the ocean, they check their movement, their direction via the stars. Via the stars. So it gives you a direction. So here also, the three wise men understood there is something very significant which is going to happen in the universe, and they followed the star. They followed it. And they said, "Where is he that is born King of the Jews? Where is he?" The word "where" is very significant. Where is that individual? Where is that individual? And where is he going to be born? Where? So, the word "where" indicates where he should be born, where he should be born to. And where is that individual? Where? Where is that individual? Who is that individual? So Meister Eckhart, the mystic, says very beautifully that this word "where" has got three meanings. Three meanings. The first meaning is, where is that individual who is to be born? Where is that Jesus who is to be born? That's the first meaning. The historical Jesus. Where is he? Who is that person? Where is he? And where he is to be born? Where he is to be born? Then the second meaning is, where is that individual amongst you? Amongst all of you? Who could also be and become the king? So there's a second meaning. Where is that individual amongst you? Because you too will also have to become the king of the whole universe. It was not only Jesus, but he was a representative to indicate that you too could. So where is that individual amongst you? Then, so that individual has to be a pure soul. You have got to be a pure being. You must have purity in nature. So that is why the word virgin. Virgin means who is pure. So where is that pure individual amongst you? Then the third meaning is, in order for the Christ consciousness to transpire in an individual, where should this person be? Where should this individual be? That's the third meaning. And this factor, where is that individual? Where should he be? Was mentioned in the book of Genesis, when the good Lord said, "Let us make man in our own image." So image in our own image means, of course, God has no images. In the imageless image of God, let us make man in our own image. So where did God make man in his own image? Where did he make man in his own image? There is a place. So within each person He indicated where that image should be, where that imageless image of God should be, wherein He would make man. He had made man in His own image. And then it is there that God, every man, every earnest person aspiring for salvation should learn to abide in that place where God has made man in His own image. So you have to discover and find out where in you that imageless image of God was made, so that man can be in the image of God. Where? So the whole, and then having said this much, on the seventh day, God rested and gave an injunction to humanity that on this day, everyone must rest from his labor. From his labor, all forms of labor, he must rest. And he should also give rest to all animals, to all cattle, to all domestics, to everyone. He should give rest. He should give rest. So, therefore, God as an example, God gave an example by His own person where to rest. And He called it a rest day. And He blessed that day. He blessed that rest day. So since God blessed that day on the seventh day, where He had rested, it is called a holy day. A holy day. And subsequent mortals, humans, made it a holy day. How the holy day became a holy day. So it was a holy day. So it was on that holy day that God, He made that day the Sabbath day. And from all His labors, all forms of labor, He wanted man to rest. Now the interesting thing is, it is not only physical rest that was enjoined by God, mental rest too. You must rest from your mental activities too. Total rest from all your mental activities. And when you are mentally at rest with yourself, wherein you are not disturbed, no thought formations are there, no feelings arise within you, you are not disturbed, because if a feeling comes within you, whatever feeling it be, then there is activity there. So you have got to rest from all your activity, feeling, mental activity too, not only physical, mental too. So when you have no feelings of any order and no thought patterns, when your mind too is quiet, is shut off from its operations, because the mind is ceaseless, it ceaselessly operates, it ceaselessly thinks, like a mechanical mind. It's a mechanical mind, keeps on constantly thinking. So you've got to put a stop to that activity of the mind. So when the mind is in a state free of all thought patterns, when it is quiet, when there is no psychological disturbances of any emotions arising within you to disturb you, then you are quiet and you are at rest. And then at that time, you have no images of any order. So since you have no images of any order at that time, you are free of all images, then you are in the imageless state. You are now in an imageless state. And in this imageless state, you are in tune with God who has no images. You are in tune with the imageless God. Totally in tune with the imageless God. You have synchronized your mind. your mental state with the nature of being of God indeed. That is to say, at this point, you have now become God conscious, God aware, as you are now in the image of God. This is the whole signal. This was the prime purpose of the good Lord enumerating Genesis, the section, the book of Genesis, was only meant to bring you to this point, so that you too also could rest on the Sabbath day and function it as the true Sabbath, wherein you are in consciously in tune with your divine nature, with God. You are in tune with God. So this is the third meaning of that word where is that person to be born? Who is he? So first of all, where is that person called Jesus? Where is he? Where is he going to be born? They were searching for him. They were looking for him. First meaning. Second meaning is, where is that pure soul, pure individual amongst you? Where is that individual? And where should he abide? He should abide here. This is the place wherein he would rest in God, this individual, and become God aware. Then, so that when he rests in this place, he would be in a virgin state, and in that virgin state, in due course, the Christ consciousness will dawn within him. The Christ consciousness. So therefore, the word where is that? They were searching, everyone is searching, where? So where is he that is born King of the Jews? Now why is the word King of the Jews has been used? As I mentioned yesterday, the word Israel and Jews only signifies the prototype of the human race. It doesn't refer to a particular race of people in a geographical location, but it is a prototype meant for the entire human race. So therefore, born King of the Jews, a person who is born to be a king must have a kingdom. And where is God's kingdom? Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it has been willed in heavens. So where is God's kingdom? The entire universe. The entire universe is God's kingdom. So you will be not the king of Israel, but the king of the whole universe. And each person will have to become the king of the whole universe. You see? So that's why the king of the Jews is king of mankind. King of the universe is what is indicated there. For you have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him, because they had taken it literally, thinking that a new king is going to be born who will take over the entire Roman Empire. So they were a little perturbed by that. And so King Herod too was troubled by this. And then he wanted to find out where this child would be born. Where this child would be born, he wanted to find out. And when he had gathered all the priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Christ would be born. He demanded of them, because when a king gives an order of inquiry to find out where this child is going to be born, they have to give a reply, otherwise they'll be executed. So then they said, and they said unto him, the scribes, the Pharisees and Sadducees said, in Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophets. So in the Old Testament, it is indicated, probably in the book of Micah, I think. Micah. Oh, no, wait a minute. It has been prophesied. There is Micah. That's right. In Micah 5:2, in Micah 5:2, a promised ruler from Bethlehem, a promised ruler from Bethlehem is mentioned. But you, Bethlehem, though you are small among the clans of Judea, out of you will come for me one who will be ruler over Israel, whose origins are from of old, from ancient times. So therefore in the book of Micah 5:2, it is mentioned, it has been prophesied by the prophet Micah, that out of Bethlehem would be this ruler. Would be, though you are small, you are a small town, a small village, but out of you will come for me one who will be the ruler over Israel. Ruler over Israel. And whose origins are from of old. So, whose origins are from old, from ancient times, because God is ancient, without beginning, ancient. Another word which gets used for God is ancient, which has no origin. So from ancient times, from of old, from bygone days. That is why when Jesus said, before Abraham was, I was, and the Pharisees got very angry when he said that. He said that before Abraham was, I was. They said this young man is not even 30, 50, 35 years old, and he claims that he was before Abraham. So that's what it means. From origins from of old, from ancient times. So it has been prophesied. So therefore, out of that prophecy, they were compelled to tell him that he was born in Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet. And the saying is, and thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judea, art not the least among the princes of Judah, for out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. Then Herod, when he had privily called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared. So indicating that he would also like to pay his obeisance to the newborn child. But that was not his intention. He only wanted to discover where he was. And he sent them to Bethlehem and said, go and find out. Go and search diligently for the young child, for whom and when you have found him, bring me word again, that I may also come and worship him also. So they wanted to secretly find out where he is born, so that he can do whatever he wants to do. So he put it in this way. When they heard, when the three wise men, when they heard the king, they departed. And lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them, guiding them. That's why we said a star guides you. So it's guiding them. And went before them till it came and stood over where the young child was. It stood over where the young child was. So, and when they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. With great joy, because now they have come to the place where the child is to be born. And when they had come into the house, here it is written as house, it's not house, where Jesus was born, was not in a stable too. He was born in a grotto. Grotto is a cave. Grotto is a cave, and rightly so. Being born in a cave is very significant. That was why he was born in a grotto. Because you too will have to. There is a meaning there. There is a mystical meaning, sense here. Why Jesus was born in a grotto. Grotto means a cave. Of course it was, maybe the front side may have been used as a horse stable or whatever it was, but he was born in a grotto, in a cave. A cave is always dark inside. It is dark inside. As you go deeper into the cave, it's dark. It's always dark. So why he had to take birth in such a place is very significant. Is very significant. Because you too will have to enter that place in order to enter a cave of darkness. You too will have to enter that cave of darkness in order for Christ consciousness to dawn within you. That is why it is so significant. So, that grotto, the cave, where is that? In each individual is the cave of your heart. The cave of your heart. Heart is a central point of your existence, not the mind. The mind is a tool to operate in this world, but heart is the center of your being, out of that heart comes the feelings, and thereafter the thoughts and emotions. But heart is the center of your existence. And in the Hindu tradition, Hridaya Guha, the cave of the heart. Hridaya Guha. Guha means cave. Hridaya means the heart. The cave of the heart. That is where you have to enter. Be for God experience to transpire. So therefore, being born in a grotto, in a cave, is very significant, because you too will also have to enter the cave, Hridaya Guha, the cave of the heart. You too will also enter. And in a cave, there is only darkness. There is only darkness. And you have to enter that darkness. Haven't you heard of that expression? The light at the end of the tunnel? It's a famous statement which the Westerners quite well understand. The light at the end of the tunnel. When you proceed through a tunnel of darkness, at the end of the tunnel you'll find the light. The light. Here is the light of God. It's the light of God. So in order to experience the light of God, you have to initially enter into the tunnel of darkness and proceed in that. So your spiritual exercise is to proceed in the tunnel of darkness without any fear, without any trepidation. You have to boldly venture into it, into the tunnel of darkness, where there is nothing. Where there is nothing. In a tunnel of darkness, do you see anything? No, you see nothing. You know nothing. Do you see anything? No. Do you know anything? No, you know nothing. So, you know nothing. And not only that, and you are nothing. You too art, to art, art, to be nothing. You too also have to be nothing. You know nothing, there is nothing, and you too also should be nothing. Then, when you are so, then, as you proceed there, that in due course, you will reach the light at the end of the tunnel. Here the light means the divine light. Divine light means you will reach God, because God, the word light here means God is full of wisdom, knowledge, consciousness. That God consciousness, which is full of knowledge and consciousness, which illumines everything, which knows everything. And you will reach that at the end. At the end, you will reach that. So you have to traverse through that process. So this is what is signified. Totally focused, totally focused. One tennis player who won the Wimbledon, she was a woman, one of the women. And sometimes these women scream from the other side of the net. Every time they hit the ball, they keep on screaming, which is a disturbance for the person playing on this side. So she said, even though the other player on the opposite side was screaming and creating a disturbance, she said she was totally focused, like being in a tunnel of darkness. Those are the very words she used. Like being in a tunnel of darkness. She cut off all outside noise, outside disturbances, and remained focused in the tunnel of darkness, intent on her purpose. So here too also, you too, intent on your purpose. And what is your purpose? To arrive at God, to get to God. That is the total focus of your attention. So being totally focused, you venture into it, cutting off all other disturbances. What are those disturbances? They are your mental disturbances, cutting it off. So that you know nothing, you see nothing, and you are also nothing. You have lost yourself. You have forgotten yourself. You have forgotten yourself totally. And you are only totally intent and focused on what you are, your intent of purpose, which is to be focused on God. That is your intent of purpose, to be totally one-pointed, totally focused on God. So therefore, this is why Jesus was born in a grotto, in a cave, so that you too also can enter that cave. You too also can enter that cave of Hridaya Guha, the cave of your heart, where God is to be experienced. That is why we said the kingdom of heaven is within. So within yourself, the kingdom of heaven is within. It is to be experienced within yourself. Then, so when they saw the young child with Mary his mother and fell down, the three wise men fell down in obeisance to the little child, because they knew that this child, because they were wise, the three men, they knew that this child is going to be the redeemer of the people from their human bondage, and fell down and worshipped him, and they worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they brought with them treasures. They presented unto him gifts. So gifts were given to him. Gold and frankincense and myrrh. So frankincense and myrrh, these are expensive perfumes, smelling things, which were also given to the child. And gold too. And then thereafter, the three wise men, being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, because Herod had told them, come and inform me. So they didn't get back to Herod, but they departed into their own country in another way, because Herod would be sending his men behind them to follow them. So therefore they slipped away, and in another route, taking another route, they slipped away to their own country. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream. The angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph, saying, arise and take the young child and his mother and flee into Egypt. Take the child and the mother and flee into Egypt. Be thou there until I bring thee word, and be there, remain in Egypt, till I once again bring word to you that you can safely come back. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. For Herod will seek for the child in order to kill the child. So when he arose, Joseph, when he arose from the dream, he took the young child and his mother by night, and departed into Egypt. And was there until the death of Herod. He remained there till the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, out of Egypt have I called my son. So there is another prophecy, because there is a link between the Old Testament and the New Testament. The Old Testament is the first covenant of God, which God had given to mankind, in which he had made rules in the form of various commandments, 10 commandments. But they are not 10 commandments, there are over 24 commandments plus other social rules. Many other social norms of justice and rules had also been mentioned in the Old Testament. So that was the first commandment of man, first commandment to man. So it's called the first covenant, God's first covenant to man. And the New Testament is the second covenant to man. So once a person has got himself established in the first covenant, that's the foundation of life, because in the first covenant, the worldly rules and principles and ethics of living is given. So that's a foundation. The worldly ethics has to be observed, which is the foundation of life. And then thereafter, once the foundation has been built, then the superstructure on it could be further built up. And the superstructure is a spiritual foundation. So in order to obtain a spiritual foundation, the New Testament is that which is giving you that foundation, the spiritual testament. The new foundation, the second foundation. Based on the first, on the edifice of the first, the second foundation is being built, and that's the second covenant which God has given to man. And covenant. First, covenant is an English term. Covenant. So, out of Egypt have I called my son. So in the Old Testament, there are many prophecies, and all the prophecies are indicating, like arrows, pointing at the New Testament. So there is a connection, all the time. And according to some of the scientists, as per their mathematical calculations. According to the theory of probability, that even 40 of those prophecies, or even 10 of those prophecies, transpiring subsequently, the probability is very, very high. 1 in a million probability that it could happen by accident. That's such a probability, even for 10 of those prophecies, is that it could happen by accident, what was prophesied in the Old Testament, and which are going to manifest as historical facts in the New Testament. The reality of it taking place by accident, not by intent, by accident. You know, by accident, random chance, accident. Such a possibility is 1 in a million. So it is not probable. So all the prophecies being fulfilled by Jesus. Jesus himself says, I have come here to fulfill what was prophesied earlier. Right? So therefore those prophecies, it took place. So it's a historical situation, not by accident, but by intent of God. All those prophecies came to be fulfilled. So here also one of the prophecies is, out of Egypt have I called my son. Out of Egypt. Then when Herod, when he saw that he was mocked off by the wise men, who had disregarded his order, was exceedingly wroth, he was very angry, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem and in all the coast thereof, from 2 years old and under. So all children in Bethlehem and round about were all killed, were slaughtered by King Herod, children. And according to the time at which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. So, wherein he had from that time onwards, since when the child was born, until 2 years, all children were slaughtered. Then was fulfilled that which is spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, Jeremiah, in the book of Jeremiah it has been also prophesied. Jeremiah 31:15, it is mentioned. And that which has been prophesied in Jeremiah 15 is, a voice is heard in Ramah, mourning and great weeping. Rachel weeping for her children and refusing to be comforted, because her children are no more. So all children were executed. And this has been prophesied. In Ramah was there a voice heard, lamentation and weeping, and great mourning. Rachel weeping for her children, and would not be comforted because they are not. Now the question arises, why did this happen? Why did this happen? Such a wonderful thing is going to take place. The Savior of the world has arrived. Then why was this horrendous situation enacted? It is said that for any good thing to happen in the world, any wonderful thing to happen in the world, a sacrifice has to be made. a sacrifice. Any wonderful thing, a sacrifice has to be made. Sacrifice means not biological sacrifice, but you have got to lose something, give up something that is very dear to you. If you give something which is superfluous, it is no sacrifice. But if you give something which is very needful to you, then it is a sacrifice. So here children, little children were treasured by everyone, and they had to be killed by King Herod. That was a sacrifice. So something had to be given away for something wonderful to take place. And you too also. If you wish to get enlightened, attain salvation, you too also, every person in the world, will have to give a corresponding sacrifice. Corresponding sacrifice. What is that corresponding sacrifice? Of course, initially, there are other forms of secondary sacrifices, that is secondary. But there is a primary sacrifice which every one of you will have to give in order to attain salvation or enlightenment. What is that? Jesus mentions it. When you lose yourself, yes, ego. When you lose your ego and ego-based individuality, ego and ego-based individuality, which you hold very dear. For each person, that is the center of his human existence, the fulcrum of his being. And this, each person must sacrifice or lose. So that is, he must give it up. You must give yourself up, lose yourself. So that is why Jesus says, unless you lose, when you lose yourself, you will find true life. You will find true life in God, as God. True life in God, as God. The word as God is very important. So, in order to achieve that, you have to lose yourself. Losing yourself is what is understood as you have to. How do you lose yourself? You have to crucify yourself. You have to crucify yourself. And this is what Jesus did as an example to you. His crucifixion. It is not only a physical crucifixion, but it was going to be a lesson for you. That his crucifixion was meant to indicate symbolically that every one of you will have to crucify your ego-based individuality. And until you crucify your ego-based self, which is your individuality, you will not attain to salvation. Therefore, in order to give you this great lesson, he got himself crucified as a teacher. The remarkable thing about Jesus is his birth was a lesson. His birth, it has a symbolic, it had a mystical meaning and significance, and it was a lesson. Where he was born, how he was born in a grotto, and how he was born while a virgin. They are all great lessons for mankind. And then thereafter, the manner of his death is equally a great lesson. It's a lesson. That's the second factor. Of course, his life itself, the way he lived with humility, with goodness, with nobility, we find that these three characters were in Jesus. You will see that he lived with nobility. He was noble in everything that he did. He lived with goodness in his heart and with humility. With humility, he lived his life. Therefore, his life itself is a teaching. There was no arrogance, no pride, no vanity, no ostentation, no ostentation. He was simple, simply attired, simply attired. He was not a showman. There was no show in him. Huh? So therefore his life itself was a lesson for mankind, was a lesson. And then of course, his teachings too, all the wonderful teachings that he gave, and he taught in two ways. He taught in two ways. Of course, there are 5 indications, 5 ways by which he taught. First by his birth, second by his crucifixion, death, the manner of death, the third by his life, the fourth, verbal teachings, which was given in the form of parables. And each parable has got a mystical content. There is a mystic teaching in each one of the parables, very pertinent, very relevant. And then, apart from the parables, he also flicked in and stated, gave truth statements, wonderful truth statements, independent statements, which if they are gathered together, of all those statements, if they are gathered together, there would be a garland of wise sayings, a garland. And those statements were in concise, brief, terse forms that he made, just flicked in between he would flick in, say something. But those statements had enormous mystical meaning. So in this manner he taught, gave his teachings. So thus, then what happened? So this is the sacrifice. So humanity too has to pay the price. And it's very strange. We have this, there is the same parallel in the Hindu tradition too. When Lord Krishna, the avatar is another word for Messiah. Remember that God gets born in different parts of the world at different times, in different races. So he was born there in India. Then later on he was born in the Middle East, for the Western world. So he gets born in different places because God is not partial. Everywhere, all over, he gives the same teaching, the same message. Of course, the context and the setting is different. That's all. One is a Middle Eastern Jewish setting, the other is the Indian setting, in the East, and in the Indian setting too, when Krishna was born as the Messiah, as the avatar, at that time, the same thing, the ruling king at that time put to death all the children, because he had been told or prophesied that this child who was going to be born, the son of his sister, would be the cause of his death. The king's sister gave birth, Rukmani, gave birth to Krishna. And therefore, he put to death all the children born at that time. So there also a collective sacrifice had to be given. Same parallel. It's a parallel incident. But when Herod was dead, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, arise and take the young child and his mother and go into the land of Israel. When Herod was dead. For they are dead which sought the young child's life. And he arose and took the young child and his mother and came into the land of Israel. So he had taken the child into Egypt, and now the child and the mother were brought back into Israel. But in the meantime, when he heard that Archelaus did reign in Judea in the room of his father, so Herod's son was now the ruler. So Joseph was a little careful, and then instead of returning back there, he was afraid to go thither, notwithstanding being warned of God in a dream. He turned aside into the parts of Galilee. So he turned away into the Galilee region. And he came and dwelt in a city called Nazareth. The city of Nazareth, he came and dwelt, who Joseph took his abode there, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophets, he shall be called a Nazarene. So, Jesus from Nazareth, Nazarene. So this is also prophesied. So it sort of clicks. All the prophecies which were given were clicking and falling into place. All right. Om Tat Sat.